everyone. Ready to swap those hiking boots for a paddle?
Ooh, yeah.
Today's deep dive takes us to the water. We're kayaking the Grand River right through Lansing, Michigan.
Nice.
Picture this. You, a kayak, the capital city all around you. Sounds pretty cool, right?
Absolutely. Kayaking gives you this whole new view, you know.
Oh,
You're not just looking at the city, you're a part of it, flowing right through it with the river.
I like that. So first things first, the Grand River. What's the deal?
Well, it's Michigan's longest river, over 250 miles long. But the part that goes through Lansing, think calm waters, easy curves, great for any kayaker, even beginners.
So no crazy rapids to worry about then?
Nope.
Perfect. Now, where do we actually, put in and start paddling? Any favorite routes?
You got choices.
Yeah.
For a shorter trip, try Morris Park to Riverfront Park.
Okay, how long's that one?
It's about 2 miles, but you get to see downtown Lansing from the water. You'll pass the Lansing River Trail, even get a glimpse of the Impression 5 Science Center.
Ooh. A mini adventure with some cool city views. I like it. What if we want something a little longer, more adventurous?
Then the Grand River Park to Portland route is for you.
Okay, how long is that one?
About 12 miles. It takes you through totally different scenery. Woodlands, wetlands, it's like a nature documentary. You might even see some amazing wildlife along the way.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we've got our routes, but what about things to see on those routes? Our sources mentioned some pretty cool points of interest. What are we talking about here?
Oh, there's plenty to see. You don't want to miss the Lansing River Trail, especially on that shorter route. It runs right beside the river. You'll see local art installations and bridges as you paddle by.
So like a dose of culture with your paddling.
Exactly.
I like it. What about this Impression 5 Science Center we keep hearing about?
Oh, it's right there on the river. You can't miss it.
How cool.
It's a hands-on science museum, perfect for families. Imagine paddling by and seeing kids' faces light up as they explore.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Old Town Lansing. What makes that spot special, and what's it like to see it from the river?
Old Town's a real gem. Picture beautifully kept buildings, boutique shops, tasty restaurants. You might even want to dock your kayak and explore on foot. But seeing it from the river, it's a whole different perspective, like stepping back in time, seeing it as it might have been centuries ago.
Wow. Okay, so we've got city views, art, a science museum, even a taste of Lansing's history. But let's not forget nature. What kind of wildlife can we expect to see along the Grand River? I'm hoping for some close encounters.
You're definitely in for a treat. The Grand River is full of wildlife. Like you said, amazing birdwatching, herons, kingfishers.
Yeah.
And you might even see a bald eagle flying above.
Okay, now I'm really excited. A bald eagle, that'd be amazing. What about underwater? Anything cool swimming around down there?
Absolutely. The Grand River has all sorts of fish. You might see bass or bluegill under your kayak. And don't forget the riverbanks themselves. They're covered with plants and wildflowers, especially in spring and summer. It's like paddling through a garden.
I'm sold. This all sounds amazing. But before we grab a paddle, let's talk logistics. Where do we even get kayaks? We don't have to bring our own to Lansing, right?
No way. There's a great place downtown called Rivertown Adventures.
Okay.
They have everything. Kayak rentals, guided tours, even shuttle services.
Perfect. So they can handle all the details. That makes planning easier.
Yeah.
Do they also offer any safety tips or route suggestions? Especially for beginners.
Definitely. Their staff knows the river and kayaking really well. They can help you pick the right route based on your skill level and what you want to see. They'll make sure you're prepared and safe.
Great. That's reassuring, especially for a first-timer like me. Speaking of safety, anything specific we should be aware of on the water? Anything particular to the Grand River?
Good question. Always check the water levels before you go, especially after it rains. They can change a lot.
Makes sense. Don't want to be surprised by a sudden rise. What about safety gear? Anything we absolutely need?
A life jacket, a PFD. It's not just a good idea, it's the law in Michigan. And honestly, it just gives you peace of mind. Like a kayaking buddy, always there to keep you afloat.
Safety first. Any tips on navigating the river itself? Any obstacles to watch out for?
There might be some low bridges or fallen trees,
Yeah.
depending on the route. So always be aware of your surroundings. Rivertown Adventures will let you know about anything specific to your route.
Got it. Now on to the fun stuff. When's the best time to go? Is there an ideal season for kayaking the Grand River?
Well, spring and summer are always popular.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The weather's warm, everything's green. It's a perfect time for a relaxed paddle. But fall is magical too, with the leaves changing color along the riverbanks. Imagine paddling through a tunnel of reds, oranges, and yellows.
That does sound pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Are there any local events or festivals we could plan around, something to add to the experience?
There's this cool event called the Grand American Fish Rodeo.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's a fishing tournament. Even if you don't fish, it's fun to watch. The energy is great, and you really see the river come alive with activity.
Sounds like a good time. All right, we've covered the routes, the sites, the wildlife, even safety tips and events. Before we finish up, I wanted to talk about something important to both of us: environmental stewardship, making sure we enjoy the river responsibly.
Absolutely. The Grand River is precious. We have to protect it.
So how can we be mindful and responsible kayakers? How can we minimize our impact?
The golden rule is leave no trace. Whatever you bring in, you take out. No littering, of course, but also be careful about even small things like food scraps or biodegradable stuff. They can still mess things up.
Right, even stuff that seems natural can still have an impact. What about wildlife? Any tips on how to observe without disturbing?
Always watch animals from a distance, and don't do anything that might stress them out. We're guests in their home. Remember that. Respect their space, and you'll get some amazing views.
That's a good point. Speaking of respecting the environment, let's talk about the history of the Grand River. What role has it played in shaping the region? What stories could the river tell us if it could talk?
Oh, it has so many stories. It's not just a pretty river, it's a timeline of history. For centuries, the Grand River has been essential for transportation, trade, and culture. Native American tribes used it for fishing, travel, and connecting different communities.
Wow, it's amazing to think about all that history flowing by before Lansing even existed.
Exactly. And when European settlers came, the river kept shaping things. It was huge for the fur trade, for early industries, even for how Lansing developed.
So as we're paddling along, are there any, specific historical spots, places where we can really feel that history?
Well, you won't see any ruins or anything, but there are definitely places where you can feel it. Like when you paddle through Old Town, remember that was once a center for business and industry.
It's like paddling through a history book. And the Native American tribes, they were here way before any settlers. What was their connection to the river like?
The Grand River was everything to many tribes, like the Anishinaabe people, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. They considered the river sacred. It was a source of life.
So it wasn't just for transportation or fishing, it was much deeper than that.
Absolutely. Their traditions and stories, they were all connected to the river. They had names for different parts of it, legends about its features, a deep respect for its power and beauty.
It makes you realize it's not just a river, right? It's the history and culture of a whole people. It adds another layer to the experience.
It's humbling, for sure. As we enjoy the river today, it's important to remember those who came before us. And it's also fascinating? The Grand River is still shaping Lansing's identity today. It's a gathering place for the community, a spot for festivals and fun.
It's like this natural thread connecting everything, past, present, future. Speaking of connecting with the river, you mentioned some hidden gems along the Grand River, places even locals might not know about.
Yeah.
Tell me about those. What secrets does this river hold?
Oh, there are definitely some hidden treasures. One of my favorites is this secluded little island. You can only get there by kayak. We call it Heron Hideaway.
Cute.
It's like a sanctuary for wildlife, especially herons. You can paddle right up and watch them hunt in the shallows.
A secret heron island. That sounds amazing. I feel like I was in a nature documentary. What else is there? I'm ready for more.
Okay, how about this? A hidden mural painted under a bridge. It shows scenes from Lansing's history, but most people never see it because they're not on the river. It's like a secret message from the past, only visible from a certain angle.
Wait, a secret mural under a bridge? That's so cool. I'm gonna look for that. Okay, you've got to have one more hidden gem. Give me something mysterious.
All right, how about this? A legend of a hidden spring tucked away in a cove. They say it has healing properties, but finding it is like a puzzle. I can't promise magic powers, but the search is an adventure.
Okay, a hidden spring with a little local legend. I love it. It's like a real-life treasure hunt. It's incredible how much the Grand River has to offer. Stunning city views, peaceful nature, history, and even these hidden gems.
It's a river with so many layers, isn't it? Every turn shows you something new, a new view, a new story.
And that's what makes kayaking the Grand River so special. It's not just about paddling. It's about connecting with a place, with its history, its nature, even its secrets.
And as you paddle, remember you're not just on the water. You're adding your own story to the Grand River.
Well said. And who knows what other hidden gems are still out there. That's the beauty of adventure, right? Always something new to discover just around the bend. Thanks for joining us on this trip down the Grand River. We hope you're inspired to grab a paddle and experience it for yourself. Happy paddling.